Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside the gymnasium here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call on this Tuesday evening, right before the Christmas holidays, and an exciting varsity boys basketball action to bring you here tonight as your Milford Scarlet Hawks take on a rival from the Davenport Division in the Sharon Eagles. We're so happy you have all tuned in for this coverage tonight, live streaming once again on YouTube. A little bit of a delayed start to this varsity action tonight with some extended sub-varsity games earlier tonight. The Milford freshmen and the Milford JV squads pulled off victories. The varsity team hoping to make it a clean sweep. And without further ado, action underway as the Scarlet Hawks control the opening tip. Out on the floor with an all-underclassmen starting five, still a very young Hawks team. After building up a lot of on-the-job training last year with a whole new varsity team a season ago, many of those players back for this year, but still a lot of youth on this roster. Milford coming into the game tonight with a record of 1-2. Sharon at 1-1. A feed underneath the basket to the big man, Nate Katz-Nelson, but it is offline. And speaking of offline, an errant pass up the other end of the floor, out of the reach of Milford's Luca Testa. Those starting fives, let's get to them very quickly. For Sharon, it is Ryan Brown, Jacob McLaughlin, Dante James, Tyler Goodman, and Nate Katz-Nelson. And for the Scarlet Hawks, it is Jack Buckley, Andrew Rivera, Tyler Ballard, Luca Testa, and CJ Farrell. Looking for our first points of the night as Sharon drives inside. Offline on the layup for McLaughlin, but he will head to the free throw line, the first foul of the night. Just 57 seconds into this first quarter action. Jacob McLaughlin, one of the top three scorers from this Sharon team a season ago, back in the fold once again. This is a Sharon team that won the Davenport Division last season. Looking to build on that with a lot of their major pieces from last season still in place. Undermanned a bit for this game here tonight, however, with a couple of injuries to some impact players. We'll get to that in just a few moments. Sharon with successful free throws from McLaughlin to take the first lead of the night. Milford now will release from three, and offline on the shot is Andrew Rivera, Milford's leading scorer so far on the young season, dazzled as a freshman last year. A lot on his shoulders for this season. And already Milford head coach Paul Seaver unhappy over on the sidelines and about to dip into his bench early on in this first quarter. Clean look from three now for Sharon, misses everything. That was Tyler Goodman, one of the tri-captains for Sharon, on the shot. Tyler Goodman, the only one of Sharon's tri-captains suited up for tonight's game, as both Matt Bauer and Jack Bates are both out with injuries. Matt Bauer, a tough absence for this team. He was their top scorer from last season. In and out on that shot for Goodman, but counted from three-point range for McLaughlin, who has all 5 points on the scoreboard so far. Milford looking to get their offense going now, a couple of minutes into this first quarter, and that pass off the hands of Ryan Franklin and out of play. We had a chance to check in via email with Coach Seaver prior to this matchup. Mentioned that he expected Ryan Franklin to play more of a role in tonight's game after really turning heads in his first appearance on the season. Scored 12 points and 11 rebounds, notching a double-double in the game against Attleboro last week. It's the only game that he has appeared in thus far prior to tonight. And out on the floor right now, the first sub in. This is the second home game of the season for the Scarlet Hawks. They got their home schedule started a little over a week ago with a weekend matchup against non-conference Barnstable. That is Milford's only win to this point on the season, hoping to get in the win column here against the Eagles tonight. A little more than 5 minutes remain in this opening quarter, and it's right now all Eagles as Ryan Brown drops one in from three-point territory. An 8-0 run for the visiting Eagles, and a little shoving after the whistle. It was Tyler Goodman giving one of the Scarlet Hawks a shove, the officials settling things down. And a nice play off the inbounds, feeding it to Andrew Rivera, who puts it in, and there are Milford's first points. And that sends us into a timeout with 5 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Gives us a chance to settle things down at the start of this broadcast. Once again, we want to welcome in all of our viewers live streaming tonight's action over on our YouTube page. We've got a good audience checking out the action here tonight, so we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Have a feeling we have some Sharon fans checking out the coverage tonight. Happy to have fans of the Eagles on board for this one tonight as well. An 8-2 start to this game with Sharon out in front. So we mentioned it a few moments ago, the Eagles are the reigning Davenport Division champions. They finished last season 12-9 overall on the season, just 9-7 in league play. It was a strange season down in the Davenport with a lot of teams hovering around the 500 mark, but credit to the Eagles, they did what they needed to do to secure that division title. Here's Katz Nelson now. Good defensive positioning for Milford, but Sharon with a offensive rebound, to keep the possession going. And that shot dropped in after the whistle, as Milford will take over. 4:53 to go in the first, still an 8-2 score. Milford averaging 56 points a game through their first three contests. Sharon averaging an even 60 points through their first two games. Down low to Rivera, lowers the shoulder. The shot looked good going up, but would not go down. And now a numbers advantage for Sharon up the floor. Turnaround jumper is no good. Sharon crashing the boards, but Franklin ends up securing the loose ball. And now a nice pass up ahead to Wyatt Zagami, whose first shot of the night is offline. Franklin trying to send that ball out of play off of Sharon, but it stays out on the floor, and up come the Eagles. Into the corner for another three-point try for Sharon, no good, but there is Katz Nelson for the rebound. Sends it up top, easy look, won't go down, and Milford pulls down the board, courtesy of Luca Testa. Rivera calling for it, passes up the look from three, gets tangled up, loses control of the basketball, and here's Sharon now. Katz Nelson with the hook shot, no problem. First points of the night for Katz Nelson, who has been very good offensively for the Eagles through their first two games. Zagami now trying a little touch under the rim, and right now not a lot working offensively for Milford. They trail by 8 with 3:24 to play in the first quarter. Pass looped across the way to Tyler Goodman, now into the corner for McLaughlin. And Milford with a good play to knock that ball free. It ends up going out in the corner, just out of our view here on the floor. And it looks like we'll get a Sharon inbound. Still plenty of time on the shot clock, just under 3 minutes to play in quarter number one. Sharon dribbling baseline and stepping out of bounds to turn it over. Jake Soares onto the floor now for the Scarlet Hawks, now in his junior year. His pass off the mark and into the hands of Sharon, quickly followed by a whistle. Milford's had some drastic swings through these early games of the season. Had a huge lead on Barnstable in that season debut, only to almost give the game away in the end. Now Milford makes a good defensive play, but can't control the basketball and ends up out of bounds. And into the stands goes Dante James, trying to track the ball down. Big deficits in the last 2 games for Milford, but they've battled back to keep things close. So just looking for a consistent 4-quarter effort, and so far only 2 points to show in this first quarter, coming down to the final 2 minutes of the period. And this pass up ahead to Zagami, and offline once again. The ball goes careening into the scorer's table. And for Milford, you're facing a Sharon team that you've historically had a lot of success against, as Katz-Nelson drops in his second shot of this quarter. You're also facing a Sharon squad that is down 2 of their key components, including their top scorer from last season, and yet it is a 10-point lead here in the early going for the Eagles, so showing good depth on the floor so far tonight. Milford with an inbounds pass into Soares. 1:55 on the first quarter clock. And good defense for Jacob McLaughlin, now cutting to the basket. The shot offline, and a dangerous play there as Ryan Franklin went airborne and helicoptered down to the floor. He gets back to his feet and looks to be all right. Long delay here as some conversation going on, and now Ryan Franklin comes off the floor. He's going to get looked at by athletic trainer Ashley Desko. Initially did not leave the floor, but the training staff wanting to take a look. Milford will inbound here. Right now it's 4 team fouls for the Hawks, 3 for the Eagles. That last foul called on Tyler Goodman. Active sideline for the Eagles. Sharon's head coach is Andrew Ferguson. And finally, looking to be set to continue with 1:44 left in the first quarter. Inbounds pass into Testa in the corner. And it's a turnover. Still a 10-point Eagles lead as they dribble up the floor with just over 90 seconds in this first quarter of play. Soares putting some pressure on defensively. McLaughlin able to get around, gives up the shot, sends it out on the perimeter. The shot no good for Goodman. And now Zagami trying to battle through contact, lost control of the basketball, and it is yet another Scarlet Hawks turnover. More turnovers than points for Milford in this first quarter, not a recipe for success. Another easy bucket, meanwhile, for the Eagles, who now assume a 12-point lead. Here's Rivera now, he gets bumped. Zagami now out on the wing. All alone now, Coutinho on the wing, his shot rims out. And 42 seconds to play. The basketball back in the hands of the Eagles. And cutting right to the basket is McLaughlin, and a nightmare quarter coming to a conclusion now. The shot clock turned off. Milford hustles the shot. But the Scarlet Hawks getting called for an offensive foul, so that shot will not count. Subs coming in for this final stretch now for the Eagles. Ryan Brown back onto the floor. Cam Sherman out as well, as the Eagles have opened up an early 14-point lead, and the expression says it all on the face of Coach Seaver in the waning moments of this first quarter. Milford with a nice quick pass up the floor. But again, Milford struggling to maintain the handle. C.J. Farrell losing that ball out of bounds, and now here come the Eagles for one last look. Less than 10 seconds. Easy look from the free throw line for Katz-Nelson. 8 first quarter points for Nate Katz-Nelson, as Soares will put it up at the buzzer. No good. And that puts an end to a disastrous start to the night for the Scarlet Hawks, as they fall behind against Sharon 18-2. And a lot for Coach Seaver to go over with this team in between quarters. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay with us here on Milford TV. Welcome back. Start of the second quarter here in Milford, and Milford hoping to make it a fresh start here in quarter number 2. The scoreboard says it all. An 18-2 start to the night for the Sharon Eagles. Down 2 of their captains, but so far that has not been a problem, and Milford's offense has been out of sync, to say the least. Soares now with the handle, slings it across the way and into the hands of Farrell. Now into the corner for Testa. The shot won't go. C.J. Farrell flying in for that offensive rebound. And so it looks like we'll get some substitutions here for the Eagles. Kicked right back out of bounds as Ryan Brown guarded that inbounds pass. And now in once again to Luca Testa. Milford continuing to battle for rebounds, and Coutinho now puts it in. The only points in the first quarter scored on a bucket by Andrew Rivera. Coutinho now trying to make it a three-point play after the foul was called on Dante James. Coutinho can't finish off the three-point play. Quick steal for the Scarlet Hawks. And then a foul. 16 fouls now on the Eagles, and 2 quick ones here on Dante James in the opening minute of the second quarter. Dante James, a transfer student, moving over to Sharon from Mansfield, so changing Hockomock League allegiances. Nice block there for Sharon. Milford handling the basketball for much of this opening minute, getting a lot of chances. So far, just 2 points to show for it. It is a 14-point Eagles lead. Down low to Katznelson, battling against Testa. And the whistle comes in against the Scarlet Hawks. They call it on Testa. It is his second foul of the game. Free throws for Katznelson. He nets his first. Now 9 points in the half so far for Katznelson. Came into the game averaging 19.5 points through Sharon's first 2 games, so he has been dominant. Drops in both free throws, and the lead is back up to 16 with 6:45 to go in the half. Free throws now coming up for Farrell, as Sharon is now in the penalty. 2 fouls now on Jacob McLaughlin. Farrell cannot convert the free throw. Milford 0 for their first 2 shots from the free throw line. Sharon keeps play alive, gets it once again to the big man, and Katznelson right now is a mismatch out on the floor for the Scarlet Hawks. And James selling out for the steal. He's going to get whistled for another foul. And the official did not take kindly to what James had to say after the fact. It is now 3 fouls on James, and he will take a seat on the bench. Andrew Rivera to the free throw line. And so with 6:23 to go, if Milford can start to knock down some free throws, they could have a chance at cutting into this deficit with the clock stopped. Rivera averaging 14.3 points a game through Milford's first 3. Goes a perfect 2 for 2 from the line. Milford with good defense. But eventually a clean look on the outside for Ryan Brown. He knocks down his second 3 of the game. Rivera trying to answer on the other end, and he does. So Rivera heating up. He's up to 7 points. He's scored all but 2 of Milford's points in the half so far. Now pestering on the defensive side against McLaughlin, and a little too much as he will get called for the foul. It's his first on the night. And Milford is now in the penalty, so we'll get a steady diet of free throws here the rest of the way in the first half. Student section, perhaps, with an assist there on the missed free throw by McLaughlin. Lead stands at 16 as Tyler Ballard, meanwhile, gets called for his 3rd foul. Milford deploys hero from the fall sports season, Nick Arujo, much to the delight of the fans. Katznelson finishes off another successful free throw. He's a perfect 4 for 4. And 14 points now in the first half. Rivera pulls up for the shot, rims out. Defensive rebound controlled by Zach Wise. Fed along to McLaughlin. And McLaughlin cuts all the way in. Nifty reverse lay-in. Milford trying to hustle the other way, but the ball comes loose yet again. Goes out of play, and Sharon will take over. And just a sloppy brand of basketball for the Scarlet Hawks here in the first half. Trailing by an even 20 points with just over 5 minutes to play in the half. Sharon getting called for a travel on the other end of the floor. Soares getting double teamed, able to get the pass away to Araujo, trying to make his way down low. Instead, sends it back out to Farrell. CJ Farrell, who turned a lot of heads during the fall sports season for his contributions to the Scarlet Hawks football team as a freshman. Having a solid start to the basketball year as well, averaging 11.3 points through Milford's first 3 games. Averaging over 5 rebounds a night and 3 assists, so he has been right at home in the early games of his varsity career. Free throws here for Jaden Segal for Sharon after the foul was called on Nick Araujo. Sharon shooting 8 out of 9 from the free throw line in this half. A lot going right for the Eagles and a lot going wrong for the Scarlet Hawks, who have yet to crack double digits. Scored just 2 points in the first quarter. Another opportunity from the line. A lot of fouls for both of these teams in the first half. Soares can't make the shot, so Milford continues to not be able to help their own cause at the line. Just 2 for 5 in the half. Sharon lead extended to 22 points. And McLaughlin is called for the travel. Here's Rivera now. Shoots over a couple of defenders. Can't make the bucket. Araujo there for the rebound. Now a scrum for the loose ball. And finally, play halted. Sounded as if Segal went down head first, but stayed in the play and looks to be fine now, back to his feet with a smile on his face. And play halted right here, and it seems like we're going to get a conversation involving both head coaches. Seems amicable on both sides. And this will take us into a timeout. 4 minutes and 10 seconds to go in this first half, and it is all Eagles, 31-9 the score right now. It has been a large student section on hand. The Jungle well represented for this early home game on the regular season schedule. Plenty of fans all around the gymnasium. It's been a great atmosphere, but not a lot for these Milford fans to cheer for. And meanwhile, the Eagles, despite being undermanned, have really come to play here tonight. And it's been largely thanks to the offensive output of Nate Katz-Nelson. It's been just 4 scorers doing the damage for Sharon in this half so far. 14 points for Katz-Nelson, 6 points for Ryan Brown, 9 points for Jacob McLaughlin, and a couple of free throws for Jaden Segal. That has been the scoring thus far for the Eagles. Here's Rivera out on the perimeter, no good, and nice job by Coutinho cleaning up the glass. Puts it back for 2. He has 4 points all in this quarter, and Milford finally now into double digits. And a good defensive play under the rim for Nick Arujo. Puts the ball back in Milford's hands, 3:49 to go. The Sharon lead at an even 20. And Milford could use a bit of momentum building here in the final moments of the half. Here's Soares, now bumps off contact. Farrell now drives inside, finds Coutinho on the wing, and Gus is going to get called for the travel. Too many possessions have ended before they've really begun for Milford in this half. Brown's pass is deflected. Rivera finds it, has a step on the defense, finishes at the rim. 9 points in the half now for the sophomore Andrew Rivera. Milford stringing a couple of buckets together, needing to hold firm defensively. Underneath the basket eventually for Katznelson. And a quick miss for Milford. Advantage up the floor for Ryan Brown. He puts it in. He has 5 points in the second quarter, and Sharon quickly answers the mini Milford run. Rivera now has his shot blocked on the way up. He is a little slow to get back to his feet. 5-on-4 up the floor for the Eagles, and it results in the bucket for Anthony Perrone. It looks like a technical foul is going to be called here against Rivera. Coaching staff pulling Andrew to the sideline with 2:07 to play. That time Milford able to prevent the bucket for Katznelson. Jack Buckley comes away with the loose ball. He finds Zagami in the corner. And Wyatt's shot no good. Coutinho fights for the rebound. Now Farrell wanted to release from 3, but instead cuts in and drops it in for 2. That's the first bucket of the game for Farrell. Quick feed to Katznelson. The shot is no good, but the big man gets it back and puts it in. 18 points in the half now for Nate Katznelson. Farrell trying to get hot, no good on the shot that time, and just over 60 seconds remain now in this first half. 39-15 in favor of the Eagles. Katznelson taking his chances from three-point territory. Farrell showing off his athleticism, sends it out. Buckley on the perimeter. And a quick pause as the foul is called. Jack Buckley's going to head to the line as the foul was called against Cam Sherman of Sharon, his first. Katznelson is going to get a rest here for this stretch run of the half. Buckley goes 2 for 2 from the line. .50 seconds to play as this ball comes loose, picked up by Ryan Brown. Now it's Goodman, tries to send a pass in the direction of Sam Latendra, but that ends up out of play. Milford will inbound with a 2-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Now the 35-second shot clock, which feels like an eternity. Milford wastes no time. Buckley goes in for the layup, can't make it. And possession back to Sharon with the shot clock now turned off. Coach Ferguson preaching patience on the Sharon side for this final shot of the half. Milford aggressive on defense. 10 seconds left to go as Milford draws the charge. And so 9.8 seconds left for Milford to try to cut just a little bit more into this big Sharon lead before the half. CJ Farrell finds Catino. He'll release a deep three. And it's off the rim, no good. And we will head into halftime with the score Sharon 39 and Milford 17. So the offense a little bit better for Milford there in that second quarter, but a lot to digest at the break. With a 22-point deficit here on their home floor. Looks like we'll have some youth players out on the floor here during halftime. We will pause on our commentary here for halftime, so for all of our live viewers, hang tight for the next few minutes. And we'll be back with third quarter action in this varsity matchup between Milford and Sharon. The Eagles with a 39-17 lead. Stay with us here on Milford TV. We welcome you back once again inside the gymnasium here in Milford. The second half about to get underway here in this varsity boys basketball matchup between your Scarlet Hawks and the visiting Sharon Eagles. And as you can see in the scoreboard on the bottom right side of your screen, some work for the Scarlet Hawks to do. A 22-point lead for the visiting Sharon Eagles, thanks in large part to the work of their 6'5" junior Nate Katz-Nelson, who leads all scorers by a large margin with 18 points. Jacob McLaughlin has 9 for Sharon, Ryan Brown with 8, and then Anthony Perron and Jaden Segal with 2 points apiece. And Milford picking up right where they left off in the first half with an early turnover on an errant pass. It was Andrew Rivera leading the way in scoring for Milford with 9 first half points. Gus Catino with 4, and then CJ Farrell and Jack Buckley with 2 apiece. We talked about Sharon playing undermanned in this game without the services of 2 of their captains, Matt Bauer and Jack Bates. Milford also playing through some early season injuries. The Hawks pulling off a turnover there. Now Farrell to the basket and gets a nice roll around the rim. They will wave off the bucket, however. The fans don't like the call. But Milford playing undermanned in particular without one of their captains as well. Senior captain Jacob Lagore has yet to even practice so far on the season. That was the report we received from Coach Seaver due to injuries that date back to the football season. Anthony Maeda, who was also part of the Scarlet Hawks football team, has yet to practice or play due to football-related injuries as well. Andrew Rivera, after coming up with the steal, ends up losing his footing. He was a little slow to get back to his feet, and now looks to be moving a bit gingerly as he moves back to the other end of the floor, but jumps right back into the play. Tyler Ballard back out on the floor. He has 3 fouls. For Milford right now, it is Rivera, Farrell, Coutinho, Tyler Ballard, and also Luca Testa, the 5 on the floor to get the second half started. Four of Milford's starting 5 out on the floor. Jack Buckley got the start tonight. He is on the bench right now with Jake Soares on the floor. Rivera off balance again, continues to look to be in some discomfort. Still on the floor on the other end, as James knocks down the bucket, and Rivera is going to require some attention from the training staff. So Dante James drops in the 3. That is his first bucket as he plays with 3 fouls. Rivera back to his feet. He will walk to the sideline under his own power, but you could just see that coming, as moments before you saw Rivera lose the handle and go down on the opposite end of the floor. Milford certainly hoping that the sophomore will return, as again we see a Milford player lose their footing, but Jack Buckley back into the game, and he is able to come through with the layup. The Hawks up to 19 points. And high bank off the glass for Jacob McLaughlin as he grabs his first bucket of the second half, and nothing slowing down offensively for Sharon. CJ Farrell rattles that shot through. And so Milford doing a bit better of a job matching buckets, but with a large deficit, needing some more stops on the defensive end. As Testa takes that one all the way in, he looked for the pass, but dropped it in for an easy bucket. A little bit of energy in the building now as Milford cuts the deficit, which is still large at 22. And Ballard fighting for that rebound, then has it poked away. And they do call the foul. The foul is on Katznelson, who will now take a seat on the bench. It's just the first foul on Katznelson. Can Milford trim this lead under 20, starting to set those small goals in sight? Try to get it under 20. Can you get it down to 10? And Luca Testa starting to heat up. He's got a couple of third quarter buckets. Milford putting pressure on in the backcourt, but Sharon quickly breaks the pressure and drops in the shot, courtesy of Zach Wise. It's his first. Now Coutinho goes the length of the floor. And so much more the type of game that we expected to see from the start taking place here in the third quarter. Milford has already scored 10 points in the first 3 minutes and change here in the third quarter. A 27-47 score. So again, still a ways to go for Milford to climb their way back into this game. We mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. This has been a matchup historically that has gone in Milford's favor. In the last 11 head-to-head meetings dating back to the 2015-2016 season, these teams have played 11 times. Milford has won 10 of those 11 games. Milford won the lone matchup between these schools last season. I beg your pardon, it was Sharon who was able to come away with the victory in their matchup last season. That was a 60-47 win for the Eagles over in Sharon. So my apologies, it is a 9-2 record for Milford over Sharon in that span. These teams played a barn burner prior to the pandemic. We'll get to some more of those head-to-head meetings in just a little bit. But a lot of scoring taking place here in the third quarter. Another bucket for McLaughlin. And as Milford's offense slowly starts to round back into form, their defense really needing to be working at peak efficiency if they're going to continue to cut into this Sharon deficit. Here is Buckley. Now it's Testa, no look pass, finds Tyler Ballard. Ballard through heavy traffic finds Buckley, and now it's out to Ballard for three off the rim. And the rebound tracked down by Milford. Fresh shot clock now as we dip under 4 minutes. Catino now, all kinds of contact under the rim, no whistle. And now Farrell gets good positioning. He draws the offensive foul. 2 fouls now on Tyler Goodman. 49-29, some pushing and shoving away from the basketball as Milford gets it to Catino. Under the rim to Ballard for an easy bucket. And Milford, they have not had a lot of easy points in the paint here tonight, but an opportunity now with Katznelson on the sideline. And Milford now with the stop. They get up ahead on the fast break. And Jack Buckley now has 4 points in this third quarter. Milford has trimmed the lead down to 16 with 3:04 to go in the third quarter. And nicely banked home by Jaden Segal to momentarily quiet down this Milford crowd. Testa again drives inside. Shot blocked on the way up, gets his own rebound. Finally, the whistle comes in. Nate Katznelson eager to check back into this game. He is out there now. He replaces Segal. Milford was able to get a couple of good looks under the rim in Katznelson's absence. Milford with pressure. Good pressure. And this ball heaved up the floor. They find Katznelson. Sharon wants the bucket to count. Milford screaming for the travel. And the officials now will get together, and travel is the call. Coach Ferguson with a protest after. The Sharon lead is 18 with 2:25 to play in the third. C.J. Farrell momentarily thinking about a deep three, but instead cuts inside, gets himself two. And more good work defensively now for the Scarlet Hawks. And for the first time tonight, Sharon starting to look a little bit uncomfortable. Inbounds finds Testa. His shot blocked, but Sharon commits the foul. Called against Zach Wise, his first. 16 fouls for Sharon, none for Milford. So the Scarlet Hawks have played a clean quarter so far. That has also helped their cause. The turnovers have been a little bit more manageable in this last sequence as well. Testa at the line drops in his first. And Milford now 6 for 9 from the free throw line. Those numbers have improved as the game has gone along. And so there is the first foul for Milford here in the third quarter. It comes with 2:02 to play. This is the closest this game has been in quite a long time. A lead that was nearing 30 points at halftime is now down to 14, and we have a timeout called on the floor with 2:02 to play. 51-37. Sharon still in front by a wide margin. So this gives us a chance to delve into some of the previous matchups between these two teams, as we've seen some very heated matchups, some wild finishes. In particular, you go back to the 2019-2020 season. That was the season just before the pandemic hit. Milford playing a game at Sharon in which the Hawks had a big lead themselves, 18 points at the break. But Sharon ended up going on a huge run late in the second half to tie. They would force the game into overtime. It was a wild overtime period as well, and ultimately Milford, thanks to 22 points from Jordan Darling and 20 points from Ben Blanchard, as well as 19 points from Colby Perez, would walk away with a 79-78 road win in overtime. A massive score, a game that went right down literally to the final shot. Foul called on C.J. Farrell for Milford. As McLaughlin goes inside, gets around Ballard, and puts it in. McLaughlin with 6 third quarter points. That ball rolls around the rim, but doesn't go down for the Scarlet Hawks. It's been a good quarter for Milford, but wanting to put an exclamation point with a solid finish to this period. Pass into the corner, Coutinho wide open, short on the shot. Buckley there for the rebound, but the ball's loose on the floor. Coutinho covers it up. They call for the jump ball, but the possession arrow pointing in Sharon's direction. .113 left. Sharon lead back up to 16. And the heave up the floor makes it into the hands of McLaughlin and blocked by the Scarlet Hawks. But Katznelson back in there, a force on the offensive glass. And an extended possession now for the Eagles after a great defensive play initially with the block. Now a deep three released and banked in by Ryan Brown, and that will quiet this Milford crowd. The first shot in the second half for Brown, and it's a big one to put the lead back up to 19. Buckley surveying his options. Farrell wants to shoot the three, instead finds Ballard. Ballard off balance on the shot. And Coach Seaver unhappy with the officials. Shot clock turned off here for the final seconds of the third quarter. McLaughlin back out to Brown. Patino all over McLaughlin, but he gets away with 2 seconds to go, lays it in, and that will be the final shot of this third quarter. A nice stretch run for Jacob McLaughlin, and it puts the lead back over 20 points for the Eagles. So Milford had cut it down to a 14-point game, but a nice close to the quarter for the Eagles has the lead back up by a margin of 58-37. 8 minutes left to play. We'll see what Milford has in store for the fourth quarter. That comes your way right after this. Stay with us here on Milford TV. Fourth quarter here in Milford, and a 21-point lead for the visiting Sharon Eagles. A third quarter in which Milford did outscore Sharon, but it could have been by more, as again, Milford at one point had cut the lead down to 14, but a nice effort, especially for Jacob McLaughlin, who had 8 points in that third quarter, helped build the lead back up to 21. Milford outscoring Sharon 20-19 in that third quarter. It was by far the best offensive quarter of the game for Milford. But again, it is the defense that is paramount here if they want to claw their way back in now with not much time remaining, less than 7.5 minutes to go. And McLaughlin now with the shot attempt here in the fourth. C.J. Farrell eventually comes away with the defensive rebound. Kicks it to Testa in the corner. Count it for three. Luca Testa up to 9 points now in the game. All of them have come in the second half. Lead at 18 for the moment, but there is McLaughlin again. Nate Katz-Nelson was held off the scoreboard in the third quarter. Did spend some time on the bench with Sharon up big. But McLaughlin picking up the slack with a fine performance in the third quarter. He's grabbed a bucket here in the fourth. And now a pass kicking off the shoe tops of the Eagles. Now still up for grabs on the floor. Bodies flying. And Coach Seaver in the end asking the question, why was that not a kicked ball? And certainly a valid question. It did seem to clearly go off the foot of a Sharon player. But it's still going to be Eagles ball as timeout was called, stopping the clock with 5 minutes and 58 seconds to go. It'll give us a chance to quickly look ahead to the schedule coming up for the Scarlet Hawks. This is our final winter sports coverage here before the holidays, as we will shut things down. Our staff, like we hope everyone out there in the Milford community, will be enjoying the holidays, and then we'll be back at it in the new year with plenty of coverage of both boys and girls basketball. for Milford after this game here today. They will play again later this week in Barnstable. That will come on Friday. And then non-conference games over the holidays for Milford. I believe they'll be involved in tournament play just before the new year. And then their first Hockomock League game of the new year will be on January the 6th. I have a sneaking suspicion we will be present for coverage for that game, but we'll give you some more specifics on our 2023 sports coverage once we get back from the holiday break. In the meantime, back to live action. Milford now with a chance to shoot free throws. A foul called on Ryan Brown. He now has 3 fouls. And really must shots for Milford at the free throw line in this fourth quarter. Sharon is now in the penalty. Farrell makes 1 out of the 2. Sharon lead stands at 17, but just over 5.5 minutes remain. Out to McLaughlin. He will shoot the 3. It is no good, but Brown out-hustles Milford for the rebound. Back to McLaughlin under the basket. Creative feed finding Dante James, who can't finish. Now Milford ahead with it. It's Farrell. And Sharon gets called for the foul. And very nearly a goaltend, and that's what Coach Seaver is discussing with the official. And again, the officials will talk about it. It'll be 2 shots for Farrell. Leaves Coach Seaver shaking his head. And Farrell again with a miss. Leaving points on the table with the clock stopped. A 16-point deficit for the Hawks. Milford coming close to the steal, but in the end, too much contact draws the foul. Three fouls now on C.J. Farrell. He will head to the bench, and Guy St. Thiel will get his first minutes of the game to a big cheer from the student section. Here's Brown again for 3. No good. Jump ball. And again, possession arrow pointing for the Eagles. Substitutions in for Sharon. Nate Katz-Nelson on the bench. Here's James now for 3. Good looking shot for the Mansfield transfer. He's made just 2 shots tonight. Both of them have been from 3. Pushes the lead back up to 19. Off balance pass out to St. Thiel, and now it's Araujo. Buckley finds Testa. Testa had some space but couldn't knock down the shot, and McLaughlin with the rebound. Up ahead to Brown. Nice bounce pass over to Goodman. And that's just the first bucket of the game for Tyler Goodman. Got himself into a little bit of foul trouble in the first half. Hasn't really gotten into the offensive flow, but a critical bucket here to push the lead for Sharon back over 20 points. And The belief starting to wane a bit for the student section as a few start to head towards the exit. Just over 4 minutes remain. Buckley gets that free throw attempt to bounce in. And in the end, 2 for 2 out of Jack Buckley. Sharon lead at 19 as we dip under 4 minutes to play. Goodman working against St. Thiel, kicks it back out on the wing for McLaughlin. St. Thiel has him there. And meanwhile, I think they're going to say that Sharon stepped out of bounds. Indeed. And Testa will inbound. We have not seen Andrew Rivera return to the floor since suffering injury in the third quarter. And just as we talk about injuries, Milford will suffer another here as Catino goes down hard under the basket. And another injury timeout here for the Scarlet Hawks. Milford's depth has been tested here in the early days of the season. As we've mentioned it, a couple of players have yet to make their debut due to injuries. There have been players in and out of these early games on the season battling injuries. In our interaction with Coach Seaver prior to the game, Gus Catino, who's helped back to his feet right now, he missed the Attleboro game last week due to injury. Tyler Ballard also missed the Attleboro game due to injury. So right now this is a Milford squad that has yet to play a game at full strength. Right now Andrew Rivera seated on the sideline with his teammates, but does not appear likely to return for these final minutes. So a critical player to have on the sideline. Milford, as CJ Farrell will get set up with free throws here. Farrell has been a fixture at the free throw line in this fourth quarter. Able to get both shots that time. Lead at 17. Now under 3 minutes and 30 seconds to play as McLaughlin able to get the bucket. Milford wanted a whistle. They did not get it. And now Arujo looking for options. Farrell again will absorb contact. 21 points in the game now for Jacob McLaughlin. So 21 points for McLaughlin, 18 points for Nate Katz-Nelson. It was Katz-Nelson's game in the first half. McLaughlin has really shouldered the load here in the second half. Outstanding performances from those two players as Milford gives a round of applause to Luca Testa and Jack Buckley, who both head to the bench, and feeling like this one is now firmly in the win column for the Eagles. Milford cut it to as close as 14 points late in the third quarter. And you had the feeling that if they had been able to finish off that third quarter the way so much of it had gone, that things would have played out very differently here in the fourth, but McLaughlin was able to help Sharon right the ship in the final minutes to pull that lead back up over 20, and Milford has just not been able to get the stops on defense that they've needed to make this a game here in the fourth. So looking like it's going to be a 1-3 start to the season for Milford. This, of course, we mentioned it briefly off the start of the game. This was the youngest team in the Hockomock League last season, one of the youngest varsity rosters that the Hawk has ever seen. And Milford certainly took their lumps last season, finishing the year last year at just 2-21. They won just one game against Hockomock League competition. Hoping to be a great deal more competitive this season. Ryan Burns shooting those free throws. They'll get another chance here. And another miss. And meanwhile, Saint-Thiel able to get the steal and the bucket. He gets himself on the score sheet here late. A full complement of bench players on the floor here to finish this one out for Milford. And a size mismatch for Katz-Nelson. And that's just his first bucket of the second half, but it does put him up to an even 20 points on the night. A shot put up by Joey McGee is no good. Milford also with Jason Stokes on the floor here in the late stages. And Sharon not ready to ease up. Ryan Brown with another three-point attempt. That one no good. And all kinds of bounces around the rim for Nick Araujo, hoping for his first points of the game. But does not get the luck around the rim, as now Sharon will deploy some subs. Katz-Nelson and Brown to the bench. McLaughlin on the sidelines now as well. 2 minutes to play. So despite the lopsided head-to-head record in Milford's favor, Sharon is going to have an opportunity to win their second straight regular season meeting against the Hawks. They were victorious on their home floor last season and just a minute 48 away from securing a victory against the Hawks here tonight. Araujo still giving a high effort level as Segal drops in the bucket. And now under the 90-second mark as Stokes takes it ahead. This team hoping that in the days to come they can get healthier, start to play with the lineup that they expected to have to start the season. This will certainly be a better team with Jacob Lagore on the floor. Sharon now up over the 70-point mark, 71-50 the score. Jackson Rava putting up the shot. It's no good. Rava was elevated from the JV team to make his varsity debut tonight. Milford in some trouble getting it out to Saint-Thiel. And points for Ryan Burns, who gets a big roar out of this Milford crowd. Sharon taking their time now, still 13 seconds on the shot clock. The final seconds ticking down here in the Milford gym. Milford hoping to climb their way to the 500 mark here tonight and grab their first Hawk victory in the process, but Sharon had other ideas here tonight as St. Thiel tries to put in one more shot for the Scarlet Hawks. They do. And it finishes things off tonight with a score 71-54 in favor of the Sharon Eagles. So they come into Milford and grab a decisive victory. So again, with the victory, Milford is going, or with the loss, I should say, Milford will fall to 1-3 now on the season. And with the victory, Sharon will move back over the 500 mark. They are now 2-1 on the season. So that's going to wrap up things here for our abbreviated winter sports coverage prior to the holidays. Again, we will get back to it at full speed after the new year with plenty of coverage of varsity boys and girls basketball throughout January and February. So a lot of exciting action to come. Milford will be back in action on the road this Friday, taking on Barnstable, and then they will have tournament games over the holiday break. But again, much more winter sports coverage to come after the new year here on Milford TV. So we hope you will join us for all of that action as we continue to stream it all for you live here on YouTube. Thanks to all of our live viewers tuned in for the action here tonight. And also a big thank you to Milford TV's Jack Rika, helping out with the coverage here tonight as well. Milford High School student and Milford TV intern helping out on the cameras. And I am Tim Coette. That final score one final time. Sharon comes to Milford and they defeat the Scarlet Hawks by a final score of 71-54. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.